of the Silas, trying to force out the Malphite ban from the enemy team. I would imagine we get that here. And then it's a question of what OP champs are left to first pick. I'm actually not too sure. I wouldn't even really have much of a prediction here. Well, the Malphite is getting through the draft, so that's going to make this very interesting. Do they pick it? Is it a game of chicken here? Maybe they want us to pick it. The Jace is up as well.
Give us the Gala Kaisa. I want to see it. The Jace does finally come through. Now the question will be, is it going to be that jungle Jace? And we'll see if there's going to be an answer to that. AL left with a couple pieces that they really love to go with. The Malphite, obviously a hover right now, but is something that Tarzan absolutely adores so far this split. And see if they want to go with that one, as we're getting some big powerhouse picks that are usually banned away in this game number 2.
Yeah, this makes perfect sense. Is that the Jace and the Malphite have been the best overall picks, and usually you don't want to give the Jace up whatsoever. Just to quickly summarize, he's basically the Apex poke champion who now has infinite sustain and infinite mana and can shock blast you from the Fog of War anywhere you least expect with Red Smite to slow you with the shock blasts. So Jace jungle is just so extremely OP, but the best counter to the Jace jungle is the Malphite jungle. You don't care about getting poked, man. You're like, all right, you're trying to play this slow, gradual, whittle us away with poke game. Not unstoppable force. Boom, just straight in there on top of his forehead. So the Malphite is really good into the Jace. And I would say Jace is the best overall pick in the entire meta right now. But that Malphite is the best overall counter to him. So that's going to be a huge highlight to spotlight this game.
That is. Maybe it was a little bit of a bait. Maybe they knew they were going to try to go for the Jace. The Ryze and the Renekton are locked in as the solo lanes right now for JDG, and that means a lot because now HongQ can get involved, can move very quickly around the map once that Realm War comes up, and that roaming possibility, that proactivity is going to be extremely important here for JDG.
What I quite like about it, and it's really quite nuanced, but if you pick both of the solo laners here, they can kind of only counter one of you, given that they're already showing 0 solo laners on the enemy team. So either they counter the Renekton with the likes of a Gnar, or they counter the Ryze with the likes of an Anivia or a Cassio, but now you can just probably ban the other solo laner who would get countered. So I would imagine that JDG wants to opt into some mid lane bans here to help situate HongQ. I would think the most prominent picks would be the Cassio, the Anivia, the Syndra, some of the best picks into the Ryze. So we'll see if they want to go for mid lane bans here, or it's very interesting to me that they did pick up both solo laners there on 2-3.
It's also, I mean, it's also the two big champions for Shanks that he's really hovered on this split so far are gone now that you've taken away the Ryze. Ryze, not something that HongQ has necessarily played a ton. I mean, played a couple times already so far this split, but it's been 5 times there for Shanks. So he will have to kind of dig into the pool. He's played some other things as well, but the Azir and the Ryze were the big two. And we already get the Cassiopeia ban away from him. On the other side, for AL, they ban away ADCs in the Sivir.
Yeah, I like the Ryze for HongQ a lot. But you actually, if some people might not have seen this, we didn't really get to show this, but it was actually HongQ was able to solo kill Knight on the Ryze. So HongQ's Ryze should be pretty good if he can solo kill Knight.
There's the
and as you highlighted, he... no, we don't get the Gala Kaisa. He's always been the best Kaisa.
That's a great call from AL, though.
If
they let that through, that's an instant win. I don't know what it is, but he is possessed when he's on Kaisa, as the Nami is going to be the secondary ban in that final phase for JDG.
Yeah, Nami ban being pretty interesting here. There's no way he doesn't go Anivia, right? There's just no way.
He's doing it to troll HongQ, you know? He's like, oh, where's your Anivia, bro?
I mean, yeah, but I like the Ryze because it takes it away from Shanks. So, and it looks like even if he doesn't go for Anivia, it should be a pretty good matchup for Ryze. Ryze versus Talia, it's a bit maybe Talia favored, but it's nowhere near as bad as like Cassio. Or Anivia, but he does pick the Anivia.
I gotta check something really quick.
Oh, this is gonna be an exciting game. We got Jace versus Malphite, and now we've got Ryze versus Anivia. So this is gonna be a spectacle to behold.
This is gonna be the first ever Anivia mid for Shanks, I believe, in his entire career.
No way.
It is indeed. So, hey, he's taking some lessons from HongQ, but maybe HongQ just throws that right back at him. That's a bold pick, Shanks. We'll see if it pays off for him. We said, hey, his other 2 picks are gone. What is he going to pick? Well, he goes into the bag, that's for sure, as the Gala Ziggs is locked in. When Ziggs first came into the meta, Gala was hands down the best Ziggs we had in the league.
Yeah, Gala has always been pretty good at the Ziggs, and it does couple pretty nicely with the Jace, being able to have double poke champ here. But I don't think this poke comp really hits home all that much. I don't think any of these champs can really get poked out all that much. I mean, Anivia just has so much HP, even has the egg. You know, you can maybe hit the Corki, but I feel like he's going to have some sort of lifesteal, some sort of sustain. So the poke aspect of the JDG comp isn't too prominent. But I think overall they just have some really high power level champions. And it's really interesting. When I look at that Nami ban, I'm like, how is that not an Anivia ban? I guess that's because they thought that Shanks is not the Anivia guy. And I guess we get the first ever Shanks Anivia tonight. So this, we'll see if he looks like he knows what he's doing, because that is a really tough champion, Mazel, with the W's.
And it's a hard team comp to go into. I mean, you're going to get poked down like crazy. You got to really be resourceful with that egg cooldown as well.
Yeah, this is the type of champion where you can't really be first time in this in ranked, and especially not in the LPL. So you would hope that he's got some practice here. Yeah, a very important series too. So I think all the onus this game is going to be on Shanks to see, can he prove that he knows how to play Anivia?
It's going to be really important for this one. Although we haven't put as much of a spotlight on Shanks, I think he was a big unlocking point for the team in that game, number 1, as he got to scaling, as he got to his 3rd item. And now for this 2nd game of the series, JDG need to find something. They have been a little bit downtrodden since their series a couple days ago against Weibo, but it's still a team that has been at the forefront of the LPL winter split so far, and whoever wins this series locks that top 4, like we've said time and time again. An important series for both. While they have more opportunities, the earlier you lock it in, the more confident you can feel about your preparation moving into those playoffs. But this game too, coming off a roundabout comeback victory from AL, is kicking off in this best of 3.
Here we go. We get the Jias out the way, but the trading starts immediately in this mid lane.
HongQ knows this matchup.
Doesn't know it as much as HongQ does, Mazel. I think you're exactly right.
Taking a look at the ruins, anything that stands out to you so far? Obviously, the double spell book I'm a huge fan of in the bot lane. See what they want to play with that. We got the first strike for Jace, as well as the double electrocute from the mid-jungle duo of AL.
I mean, what I observe most here is that Shanks decided to go for Taste of Blood and Scorch, so he has pretty much maximum lane phase power on this Anivia, and he's still getting out-traded. The most important aspect is that Ryze has Ghost and Anivia has TP, so that's going to impact their recalls, and in the mid-game, it's going to matter a lot for Ryze having the extra utility. So we'll just see if Shanks can give HongQ a hard time right now, while he has no ability to recall and TP.
And just to remind everyone coming into this game, I mean, our big focal points for both teams were the connective tissues, the kind of pieces that make the engine run for both of them. For AL, it was Tarzan, it was the connection with Kael. For JDG, it was how proficient this mid-jungle has been. HongQ and JunJia coming over from CFO and the LCP, a combo that kept going strong into this winter split. And while they have fumbled a tiny bit, they have still been one of the best stories of the winter split so far and have hit the ground running. So if they can find a way to come back in this series, it would bring us to 3, just like the last time these two teams met.
Yeah, last game, it looks like Tarzan and Kael did get the last laugh, but HongQ and JunJia were absolutely putting up some shots and numbers of their own. Alistar.
Hope in a lot of trouble. He's going to have to flash away from the turret. He's getting decent damage down now, though. He's trying to get some damage onto Vampire. Gala's doing a decent chunk right now. He's looking for one more Q. He has the mana for it. The barrier is going to be popped by a Hope. He's going to stop him. Kael stopped the head, but Pulverize coming through. JunJia finds a gank onto Flandre, though, and gets JDG on the board.
Wow, barely in the bot lane is is Hope able to survive? I think that was a really fortunate interrupt from Kael there onto Vampire. But this is going to mean a lot. Not only did Jace get to full clear, but he also got the full clear and then finish off his full clear with the first blood. Now having the serrated Dirk as well. I mean, yeah, this Jace has a really good early game. And the Renekton is not going to be countered all that much anymore if he's got a 400 gold lean on his counter pick.
Shanks getting a little bit dicey there in the mid lane. The
-1.
or at least back was attempted, but stopped by HongQ, realizing it's exactly what Shanks wants to do in the moment. But very precise plays so far. I love that cheeky little stop off before the scuttle by JunJia, and it's exactly something that they need to kind of kick up the tempo for themselves. As Kael, speaking of, the wall comes in, the grand entrance comes in, but Shanks doesn't really have the health to stick in the fight. That'll be both supports showing their faces mid.
Yeah, this is that really awkward kind of early game where Anivia has passive and Ryze has no TP. So you're just playing this really awkward, annoying game where as Anivia, you're like, yeah, you can't get me, you can't get me. But as Ryze, you're like, please just let me recall, man. Like, I don't have TP, let me out of here. Looks like Vampire gonna do his best to enable HongQ to do so. And they might try and hold this minion wave a bit, but by the time HongQ shows back up, it wouldn't matter. So he's gonna let it crash, and we're finally gonna get to see, which is really good news for HongQ, by the way, him able to get his recall off without being punished for the lack of TP.
Next punishings will come with these level 6s being completed. Obviously, it doesn't matter that much for JunJia, but it matters a whole heck of a lot for the rest of the team, and especially with those unstoppable forces from Tarzan. Speaking of, Tarzan is being hunted right now in his own jungle. He's going to take it back on the ward. Fools. Okay, he's not going to go for it. Got baited by the observer.
Ooh, he might go for this, though. This is a lot more interesting.
Flandre doesn't have Mega Gnar even close. He's going to get hit by the Shockwave, or at least Shock Blast, and now he's going to early flash away, try to get some distance, try to use the hop to get back over to his turret, but he will get CC'd as soon as he gets into range. He misses the double jump, and he'll go down. That'll be a big kill. Vampire also fell on the other side of the map.
Okay, that's what AL needed, was some kind of advantage somewhere, because this top lane is getting really ugly really quick. So we'd love to see that replay, how Hope was able to slay Vampire. But yeah, really cheeky from JunJia there, waiting out Tarzan's recall and then actually going for this extended dive play onto Flandre. Ghosting in his HongQ.
Moving on Shanks right now, missing the ice. And able to get a little bit of damage back down. He wants it so bad as Tarzan's being surrounded by JDG. They're trying to make a preemptive play on this Scuttle Crab. That will be Tarzan going in with the unstoppable force. Flandre right behind with the boomerang to get a little bit of slowdown. Tarzan doing a massive chunk of damage on the JunJia while he has that level advantage. But it's starting to get a little bit worse for JDG as they need to try to get out. That's going to be another kill going to AEL. Shanks is going to get that one. They're going to try to kill JunJia here as well. Flandre takes him down. And Kael is here over the top to get a double kill going for Shanks. Shanks has been playing with less than 200 health like this entire fight, and he's still alive.
But Shanks has been playing with less than 200 health this entire game, it feels like. Oh my gosh, this Anivia is just on the edge of being an egg all game. But Kael smurfing this fight, Mazel. I think this is what we talk about with the glue. First, we'll see another part of this glue Kael dynamic where he's able to get this kill down here. No wonder they're able to do so well. But look how quickly Tarzan levels up the unstoppable force. It looks like JDG is able to turn this, but I think Kael's arrival here changes everything. How does Kael get? Yeah, Kael TP's in. That's how. I don't think HongQ even nearly expects this. Flashes in and is immediately punished by Kael.
And they do end up getting that lockdown just in time. The shielding, the healing onto Tarzan. He's demoting on him. Oh my god. The BM for days from anyone's legend is now Shanks getting surrounded by JDG. They're going to try another crack at the egg. The egg will be popped here. He'll buy a little bit of time, but nobody's really coming for him. So he will just be scrambled by JDG.
Yeah, Tarzan stops to take a laugh, but Shanks doesn't nearly have that luxury. He's been getting just pressured all game, it feels like. I don't think they can kill Gnar before Mega, but they're going to try.
About to have it. They have a lot of lockdown here. They're going to hit the headbutt pole first. They lock him down before he even gets it. Beautiful damage combination from JDG.
That is just the most possible rage bait you can experience as a Gnar player. To be so close, literally 99% it feels like, of the Fury built up towards being able to Gnar out and possibly completely swing that play in your direction. But no, perfect crowd control and layering of spells from JDG to just one-shot Flandre before he gets the chance. And yeah, suddenly JDG fights back. It looked like AL had a really good look with Tarzan getting to laugh right after. But I think JDG might have some opportunities to take some emotes now too.
Dude, that ward up there, that control ward, has been there like the entire game. It's like the most value control ward ever. As it's seen Tarzan come in and out of his jungle multiple times. That'll be all 3 grubs going AL yet again. That's the same thing that happened in game number 1. And you have to remember, this is a chance for AL to upset the norm. They lost 2-1 to JDG in the opening weeks when they looked like a husk of their former selves. They didn't seem to be on the same page. They didn't seem to be working together. But as time went on, this team has started to gel again, and it's been impressive to watch. Although about 1,000 gold lead for JDG, we know where that went in game number 1.
Yeah, we do. That gold lead did not last the whole game, definitely, when it came to AL versus JDG game 1. But I think in this game, it's a lot more promising. I think you've got Jace jungle with the lead. This champion is so strong. And I honestly think that control ward that you highlighted, that's actually going to be really impactful this game. I mean, so far, they just constantly seem to be knowing where this Malphite is. So you don't gotta be too afraid. As Gala, for example, he's just been farming up in peace. So I think once these champions get their next sort of power spikes, I would imagine JunJia's going to have 2 items in pretty much no time. The poke and the setup that they're going to have to just get these Drakes is going to be really advantageous. Yeah. So I think if they can just keep this lead, I don't even think you got to be too concerned about the dive that Tarzan and Kael are threatening you with, because you're just going to be able to build so much distance and have so much setup.
And we are getting the first item spikes coming through here. It was the Sunfire completed by Tarzan. He's also got the Dark Seal in tow just for maybe some extra AP, as it's going to be another lockdown city fight onto Flandre, but the rest of the team can't get there fast enough. I will say the lead in the top lane is starting to blow open a little bit, about 30 CS differential between Flandre and Xiaoxu. But it's AL maybe trying to make a redemption play up here. They have Tarzan on a control ward. A little bit of extra damage on Kael there with that shock blast is going to be huge. And we'll see if anybody else wants to roam up this way. There's pressure from Shanks in the mid lane right now onto HongQ, so don't think they can join.
I mean, this is just what's so impactful about the Jace. Sure, you can draft Malphite, but if the Malphite's not interrupting the Jace, he's literally just poking you from across the map all game. So it's really annoying to deal with. I don't know if they want Tarzan to be here right now, but I don't think they can really stop him.
That's a lot of damage on the Vampire. He pops the Unbreakable, has to flash over the wall. Really nicely done by Shanks.
Yeah, Tarzan really pushing the envelope with this Malphite. Sure, he's down 750 gold, but he's got an XP lead, and quite a big one at that. He's up about a full level on JunJia here from these camps he's been getting. So honestly, unless JunJia can catch up a bit in that department, I think Tarzan is actually stronger here despite the 800 gold lead.
So how are we feeling about this this dragon setup about 30 seconds away? Do you still feel like AL have that upper hand here?
Well, I would imagine that as JDG here, if JunJia can just take a good recall, probably after he clears this wolf camp, he should be really strong. He finally spend that gold. Once he spends it, I can only imagine that he is going to be substantially stronger than Malphite, because we have not seen that lead materialize in the actual skirmishing and trading we've been looking at recently. But surely, if he spends the gold, it would be better. But I don't think he has time to spend the gold, Mazel. So that's why I think that this fight should probably favor AL.
We'll see if they actually commit to it right now. It seems like AL being a little bit nonchalant around it. Would be a second dragon in a row for JDG, and it's been the tail of the tape here so far, as they have consistently put focus around that dragon side of the map. We also have quests starting to be completed. Both bot lanes, importantly enough, have theirs done. We're waiting on that mid lane setup to get to those tier 3 boots, but Right now, it would only be HongQ that gets his upgraded. We are set up now around this fight, and Vampire might be caught out a little bit. He's going to be taking a brunt of damage here. About half health as he pops that Unbreakable Will. That's going to be the Mega Inferno Bomb used. Kael trying to get away from the rest of the fight. Vampire going low, going down. Big setup at the quickness. Not fast enough. They do get the double kill coming for Hope, who has been quiet this entire game, but all of a sudden pops off with a 3K in starting the game. All quests completed by AL during that fight, and now they continue the Dragon.
Yeah, and I think we might have more combat here. I mean, Gala and HongQ do not want to give this one up. Tarzan's HP is increasing rapidly.
Is gliding right now. HongQ going to have to go over the wall. Now they get the Gatling gun straight into Gala's face. Gala going to flash over as well. Hope can't fall with the rocket barrage.
But the Dragon...
The Dragon continues as they are going to reset its aggro. Flandre is stuck in the pit here. Kael coming over. I don't think this is a fight that AL want. They back away, rightfully so, and JDG will get a second Dragon.
This is really good for JDG. You would think that after AL wins that fight that they're going to get the Dragon and have a really favorable outcome, but typically the objectives matter so much more than the kills. You know, yeah, Kael with the cheeky attempt there, but he's not going to get rewarded for it. But yeah, unfortunately AL, they play this so well. You see Tarzan holding the ult for so long. They're just chewing through Vampire here, biding their time. You see, the route onto Tarzan is really effective because he can't ult just yet, but when he does get the chance to ult, it rings true. You have to flash that as JunJia, but it's just so hard, man. I'm telling you, flashing Malphite ults is so much easier said than done. So JunJia goes down, but as I was saying, this is still really good for JDG because somehow, some way, they got the Drake, and that's what's most important.
And those item spikes, the scaling, going to be important for both teams. Do feel like both of them do have some scaling options, especially in their primary carries. JDG will need to be a little bit careful for Gala in the mid lane, but he should be fine. Just always need to be wary of Tarzan and his unstoppable force, as every AD carry shakes to the bones every time that he presses that ultimate. But it's going to be a little bit of side lane presence until then. Still a while for that next objective, and really want to ask and talk a little bit about that scaling aspect. Like the engage is so easy from AL, obviously, but things are going to get tankier and a little bit harder to kill on JDG's side as time goes on here, Fools.
It's a bit hard to imagine what this game would look like about 3 items apiece. I would imagine that it does favor AL just because of this Anivia, actually, because I think Anivia is able to withstand poke pretty well. You've got so much HP, even the Roa there, to increase your HP, and it's just going to be so effective, him laying down those glacial walls. I think it can be extremely frustrating, especially for HongQ, for JunJia as well, and we've seen even Vampire have a hard time playing the outside the way he wants to because of Shanks. So I think Shanks is going to be a huge force to be reckoned with this game. But speaking of force, I think the unstoppable force from Tarzan is just going to be the spell to watch all game. Does he commit it early? Does he hold it? What targets is he looking for? We see Flandre gnarring out down here. He cannot, or mini gnarring out that is, so he cannot really hold a candle to this tower. And it looks like JDG is well aware of that. They're going to have the satchel as well.
They do love to get that first turret, and they will focus that in the bot lane. Should be able to do that, as you said, with the satchel. Just little side point here, and I don't know if it's going to matter if we do scale into infinity, but Shanks has 4 stacks on Rod of Ages already before HongQ had even completed his. He just completed it, so it'll start stacking now, but that's going to be a big difference.
Yeah, I think what that can end up meaning is that, of course, in about 5 minutes' time, which is crazy, it's 5-0 in the stack count on that right now. It's going to be way better, but I wouldn't be surprised to fight here.
They're trying to chunk Tarzan, but he's pretty tanky with that Sunfire first. And he's not the AP Malphite that he might be able to burn down, as AL will get a response turret in the top side. And that lead still hovering about 1,000 gold for JDG moving forward.
But yeah, as you said, like there's a lot of reasons why there might be leads for AL that don't necessarily materialize in the gold lead. I think what's interesting about this Roa dynamic is that perhaps Shanks got his a bit early and HongQ got his a bit late. So Shanks will get a level up, but he might not level up all the way to 16, whereas HongQ, his is probably going to take him to level 18 once he does finally level up. So I think, honestly, as JDG, this 3rd and 4th Drake is going to be pretty awkward because of that. But especially once It's 8 minutes or so from now. I really think that this Rise is going to be extremely strong, but I just don't know if they have enough time to make it there, because in theory, AL's comp should be better at level 18. So
let's see what kind of prio comes through, but about 45 seconds till the prio on the Dragon rises. Again, we've seen this point before. One away from Soul Point for JDG. And last time, this is when AL started to fight back. Will that be the case this time, Foles? Do you think they have enough in the tank right now with these item completions to kind of put up this fight as they are positioning for it?
It seems to me that that's their formula. Is it's fine to give up the first 2 Drakes, but it's not so fine to give up the third one. I do think with Tarzan recalling there, this does kind of signal to me a give. Typically, like you would think, recalling 20 seconds before the dragon, that's not so bad, but actually it really quite is, because you need to be positioning ahead of time. You can't just really show up late and magically resolve the positionings, but it looks like that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try and magically resolve the vision disadvantage that they're going up against here.
Shanks was trying to get a back off, didn't end up getting it off, was I think going to TP to the fight, but now we're getting the big TP from Flandre. He has that big shield now as well. There won't really be a TP from Xiaoxu, so that will be a little bit of a difference. It means Flandre can play with this mini Narbar a little bit more safely. HongQ and everyone else looking for him, though, before he can change Mega Gnar. That would be huge. The exhaust comes down. Mega Inferno Bomb used only onto Flandre. He'll be still stacking up. Meanwhile, there was a little bit of pressure in mid lane while Hope takes the turret. And that's going to be some good standing gold ahead of the fight for AL, and a lack of defensive pressure from JDG.
Yeah, I mean, JDG does have the gold lead, but not necessarily in the actual inventories right now. And this Malphite champ is a lot more powerful than the Jace is if he's able to engage quick.
They still don't have Flandre. He backed and has come back. I didn't really buy much either, but did have his health bar kind of gone. They're going to get a catch out here right on the Vampire, but he's unbreakable. You got to remember. And there comes Tarzan after he dodges, and Tarzan going to find that entrance to the backline. That combo of Kael, Tarzan, the glue. Well, it's sticking together right now, and JDG can do nothing of it. A double kill for the Malphite, and Xiaoxu comes in a little bit late, now being bombarded by the rest of AL. Xiaoxu goes for a play onto the backline, but Shanks has egg. He's going to get one at least. He's still cooking. He's still going. He's still got Gala, but Gala has no mana, and Xiaoxu will finally fall. Godzilla is down, and Tarzan raises his standard for AL.
Yeah, and that's, again, JunJia getting hit by the unstoppable force. With flash available, Mazel, you have to flash those Malphite ults as hard as it is. Rise ulting for vision is HongQ. This one is most certainly gone, but maybe they can kind of mess with them here. Get them tempo, get their tempo, maybe find a play on the back side of this, maybe pressure the mid tower or something. But what a good Malphite ult. He knows Vampire wants to get over this Anivia wall, and so he aims it perfectly to hit both of them. As soon as Vampire repositions, boom, and as JunJia, it's so hard to flash that without vision. You're down 2 levels now to the Malphite. Even if you've got all the gold lead in the world, it's not going to help you if you just get completely obliterated.
And that is exactly what happened here. That lead gets chunked down again. You could see the entrance from Xiaoxu, but the fact of the matter is, Shanks still had the egg, still had plenty of time, and Gala had no mana. If he has mana here, you wonder what the difference is with the damage he can put down.
That is such a good point. I mean, I had not noticed that Ziggs was but I was wondering why they weren't really hitting home there. We see that a lot of Ziggs players like to go for Tear of the Goddess, even if they don't upgrade it, just so that kind of situation wouldn't happen. I've always been a bit of a doubter about just buying a tier and not upgrading it, but after seeing that, I would have much preferred to see a tier in the Ziggs' inventory so that he was able to contribute there. But alas, this is the game state we find ourselves in, and the only gold lead that's even kind of remaining is this top lane one.
It is, and that's troublesome, but you could see Xiaoxu's ways of entering fights. We'll see if that actually becomes a factor here. But dude, I just feel like Tarzan is stunned this series. Not only did he have that incredible Pantheon game, he's been emoting, but he's also going full tank, but with a Dark Seal, so he's got AP. He does damage. He's got the Abyssal Mask now as well to lower that magic resist, and he is just a tank that can kill people. And now we're going to see a 50-50 around the Baron. JunJia trying to get over to the pit, but the Baron's already gone. Flandre trying to get Mega Gnar, but he's still locked down. Xiaoxu trying to find the entrance, trying to go for the big spin to win combo, but it's a lot of damage.
They're
back
so
from
low.
They found Xiaoxu. They're going to find Vampire, though everybody's bars are ticking red. Gala waiting in the wings. Shock Blast goes wide. JDG can't find it.
That is incredible for me to see that none of those people go down. All 4 of them on blinking red HP bars, but they just cannot be slain there by the Jace and the Ziggs. It's so heartbreaking because that was a really bold start from AL to just go ahead and say, we've got a blue buff Anivia. We're just going to start the Baron. Jace has no flash. And yes, it was a guaranteed Baron, but it was not a guaranteed escape. And they just barely managed to escape nevertheless.
My goodness. And some of those engages going to be coming up quickly here as we see the initial start of the Fightfuls.
Yeah, you can only wonder if some of these spells were hitting. For example, the Ziggs ult onto Hope. And gosh, just look how low absolutely all of them are. The next Jace E coming up any second now in an attempt to snipe somebody. But he just barely does not connect, Mazel. Gosh, the Corky W being the reason why. You can only wonder maybe a bit more patience. Holy, the live.
Jace is already down. JunJia's gone, but a nice rebuttal from JDG coming up. Xiaoxu seems to be the one that they really need to rely on as Realm Warp's coming through. Only HongQ is going to join that one. Shanks trying to run away, but gets killed and will eventually fall here as his egg will be popped as well. And that is a wonderful, triumphant return to the game state for JDG.
Yeah, blink and you'll miss it. All of a sudden, JDG is way back into the game. They just get 4 kills out of the blue in exchange for JunJia's life. That is a great trade every day of the week. And you got to wonder what AL was looking for there. You see them doubting significantly what they just did. I mean, it says that it's a minus 17k gold lead on the Baron play. I don't think that's true. I mean, Alistar has a crazy flank here. I feel like that's got to be why this is so successful.
That's bold by Tarzan. the play coming big from Vampire. 3-man headbutt pulls. Looking to lock them out. And they're just taking turret shots. I mean, that was just a foolhardy expedition by AL.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I mean, Xiaoxu doesn't even make it into the Realm Warp. You saw him try to get in, but it doesn't matter. They reach everybody at the back end of that play. So nice to pick up these additional kills onto the Anivia and the Rakan here. That's going to mean that this Dragon setup is a lot more advantageous. We got the Serpent's Fang for JunJia now as well. He can poke through that Malphite shield a little bit easier. But gotta be really careful. They can get snapped on at any moment.
Back to looking at our duos. Tarzan and Kael, they have the go buttons for anyone's legend. JunJia and Xiaoxu will start up the Dragon, but you know Xiaoxu is always looking for the back line. That's going to be a Shock Blast hitting onto Flandre. He's trying to get Mega Gnar up now. Half health on the Dragon. Tarzan wants to 50-50 it, but they don't have the resources. They could just let this one go, and I think that will be the decision by AL.
Yeah, that time you see Tarzan not quite willing to commit to Unstoppable Force. I think that would be the most flashable Unstoppable Force all game for JunJia. He's had a lot of chances, but that time he's staring him right in the face, keeping his distance. The element of surprise isn't quite as present there because there's no fog of war where Malphite can just ult over the wall. So, I mean, as a pro LPL player, you're probably flashing those Malphite ults every time. So Tarzan can't really go in that time. And that's going to mean Soul Point, JDG, and Cloud Soul, I'll mention, is really good this game. Regardless of the fact if your ultimates can make use of it or not, getting slow resist against Malphite and Anivia is extremely useful. And the out-of-combat movement speed as well. Just having more movement speed, particularly as Ryze versus Anivia, that's why you go Ghost, right? So that's pretty much going to help this matchup significantly.
And taking a look at the game state right now, we are on 3 items for a majority of members, as well as Xiaoxu is literally a full item up over Flandre. And that's going to be really hard to deal with this Renekton. Big shout out to Xiaoxu's performance so far, getting that individual lead in the top lane and now being a saving grace for JDG. Their solo lanes are kicking. And we'll see if they can kind of drive that one home. 4,000 gold up. You feel like it should be a decently easy drive. but AL have been relentless. Now they are on 3 items as well. Tarzan having his third has the Kanik Rookern, and we'll be looking at 3 items quickly for Shanks, but already have that for Hope as well. And at this point, I gotta ask. I mean, we've seen Gala's efficiency, his poke, his damage. Hope is 4 kills in, but can he do the thing?
Wow.
Gala, beautiful.
Is he that
reaction
good?
flash.
Mazel, is he that good? It wasn't worded, by the way. Oh my gosh. I mean, what were you saying about Gala?
Bro.
Because, yeah, I'll probably pause for scripts too after that one.
Check in
my
PC. Lacking. As I hear game sound, I believe we're going to be getting into it. What is lacking from this AL team? Because it felt like for so long they had so much control, but is it just a cop diff here?
I was going to say that I think it's the top lane diff, because if you look at the scoreboard, it doesn't seem like any of these gold leads really matter all that much. I mean, HongQ did just now pick up the actualizer, so that's going to actualize his gold lead, if you will, but it's the top lane. I mean, look at this. No vision. How much time does he even have? You know, I can only wonder if Tarzan should have just not flashed. I'm pretty sure he could have reached Gala without flashing there. But I think it's the flash that actually enabled Gala to react. So, gosh, I mean, he might have just barely been out of range as well. But yeah, I really think, to answer your question, that it's this top gap for now. I mean, this Renekton, if he completes this death stance as well, I would say he's like essentially literally unkillable. So I think that's the main issue right now. I think AL needs to step it up in the top lane.
We will have 3rd item complete for HongQ, and now Shanks just taking half his health and damage immediately. That's going to be Vampire's flash out as well as they try to move away from the engagement. Is AL going to go on the Baron here? I don't think they can do it just yet. And they are definitely thinking about getting some vision around that pit.
There's a beautiful rune prison from HongQ there. I do believe Tarzan was looking for the unstoppable force to follow up onto Vampire after Vampire flashed out, but the rune prison from HongQ came in at the perfect time, meaning Malphite was not able to proceed with that fight. And yeah, I really want to touch on this point. I think we need to see Xiaoxu carrying these fights, and I think we need to see, as AL, them finding a way to keep Xiaoxu out of this backline, because you've seen how much work this Dominus Renekton has been putting into these backlines. It's just going to be that much more difficult with the amount of gold that he has right now. So, and I think you want to be doing something before he gets the Death Stance. Once Renekton gets Death Stance and Jace gets Last Whisper, this game becomes extremely difficult. Same for the Void Staff from Gala. I don't think the power spikes from AL matter nearly as much.
Well, we're getting to that point now. 45 seconds away from that dragon. Would be soul on a Cloud Soul for JDG, and might just be one of the nails in the coffin. We saw resets aplenty. Banshee's Veil completed for Shanks. This fight is do or die, it feels like, for this game, and AL know that. There's going to be another flash play away from Tarzan's unstoppable force, but JunJia will no longer have flash on the Jace.
First time he flashed Unstoppable Force, perhaps the most important time. The soul is coming up here.
Xiaoxu's looking for the angle. Flandre needs to get his Mega Gnar, but he can't do it. Kael is just taken out by Xiaoxu. The Croc is hungry, but now he's got to be a little bit careful. JDG going to recircle the ranks and recircle the wagons right around AL. That'll be another pick. 2 members down of AL, and that dragon should be JDG's.
Oh yeah, no smite left. Not even a spellbook Kael to try stealing this. That's going to be Cloud Soul for JDG. And as I was mentioning, that soul is going to be extremely good this game. Just the stats it's giving you. And then as well, the fact that you're able to gap close on top of them that much easier now. Once you proc the effect with your ultis. I actually think it's really good on Jace as far as I recollect. Because you can just constantly be switching between hammer form and cannon form. And you're just going to have movement speed everywhere you go. And that should be a JDG Baron as well. But as AL, you imagine you have to contest here, right?
You don't have Tarzan. I don't know what else you can really do. Shanks will just get caught if he overextends. Kael, he's going to try to get in there, try to get a little bit of something. Vampire goes down, but the Baron has already fallen. Flandre can't even get Mega Gnar, at least gets the Mega Gnar ulti there. Was wondering if he was actually going to hit anybody. Now Xiaoxu activates and goes forward. They have so much movement speed, and Xiaoxu is doing so much damage. Once or twice, every now and then, Xiaoxu just single-handedly carries JDG, and that's this game right now.
Yeah, when I looked at the rosters, I honestly never thought Xiaoxu would be that much of a, like, elite player. I thought he was just a miscellaneous addition of the roster, nothing special. But no, Xiaoxu is really good, man. He's gapping Flandre extremely hard this game, and the inputs and the carry performances he's putting on in these fights is insanely beautiful.
This is the flash. Although he didn't even, he was trying to go for the smite actually on the spell shield
the
there,
smite,
so
the
he would have had to. It was a little bit close, but JunJia with the quick reactions, and that makes the biggest difference.
Yeah, that was the most important time to finally get the flash off on the Unstoppable Force. Luckily, he does do so. And I mean, as we were saying, Xiaoxu, just such a beast in these fights. He's going to have Death Stance now as well. Mazel, I don't think he can even die. I think he can only die if he literally puts himself in the middle of the whole enemy team.
The enemy team is coming for somebody, but it's not Xiaoxu, it's HongQ. He goes down after taking the turret in mid lane. See what the response from JDG will be. Just looks
they're
like
gonna try corralling
them.
them.
Some of this. They're going to keep this train rolling. Tarzan doesn't have any entrance into the fight, and Kael just gave his life. Did he expect Tarzan to come around the corner? Tarzan just said no, and now Tarzan is on the back end of this play while Hope also dies. AL have just given everything over to JDG, and they will take that and run with it. Speaking of, Flandre can't really run away as Xiaoxu finds a connection straight onto Shanks. He is untouched, unbothered, and just ripping and roaring through AL's backline over and over again. That's going to be game 2, and JDG show some life in this series.
Yeah, Xiaoxu takes about 12 tower shots there. His HP bar only going up somehow. And I mean, as Hope, you think that you've got plenty of distance between you and the Renekton and Alistar. But guess what? Renekton and Alistar both pop their ultimates, getting that Cloud Soul buff and just that immense amount of movement speed. They're able to get right on top of Hope and right on top of AL's Nexus.
And it was a firm, solid plan from JDG. Just go with scaling, stuff that's stable, and a heck of a carry as well from Xiaoxu in that top lane matchup. But it was a holistic effort from the entirety of JDG, and they have finally woken up after these last 2 series at least, and are going to find themselves now 1 game away from locking in that top 4.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the replay highlights from this game, because it felt like in game 1, it was JDG's game to win, and that AL suddenly won the game. And I felt like we had a bit of a vice versa this game, where I felt like AL was doing really well. I know there was a gold lead between JunJia and Tarzan, but that Tarzan was just even more impactful the whole time. But just seemed like JD Gaming just suddenly had a way better mid game and took this game over, particularly because of Xiaoxu in the top lane. I'd like to see him get that MVP. I know
100%.
that it was JunJia who did set him up for that with that early gank, and he was really able to take it from there. But Xiaoxu, I mean, come on, he was literally putting in the most ridiculous amounts of frontlining and damage dealing of all time. That was a Renekton performance of all time, if I will say.
It was, and it's one of those performances that we get every now and then from Xiaoxu. You got to remember, this guy is the holdover for JDG from their experimentation in 2025 with that roster, imploding that and finding themselves with this new enthusiastic roster. And that game 1 was tough to watch. I mean, it was a small lead in the early game that they weren't able to balloon up and lost wholehandedly to AL, but this game felt like quintessential JDG, and it feels good and refreshing to see that once again.
Yeah, I'm really excited to take another look back at this game, because JDG really clutched this one up across the board. I think there was some really good fights. I mean, AL had like at least 5 really good plays this game, where they were catching people off guard, getting really good, like 1 for 0 kills, 2 for 0s, it felt like. But it just seemed that those didn't matter quite as much as JD's team plays. Like, when JDG was able to all be on the same screen working together, it seemed like that's when things were really going JDG's way. Sure, AL was finding picks across the map, but they weren't really translating into important leads. And one thing I do remember now, which was really important to the outcome of this game, was, if you remember, AL had that really favorable fight. I think it was for second drag, but they weren't able to finish off the drag. And you know why? I'm pretty sure it's because of Xiaoxu. He went in 3v5 and somehow turned it into a situation where JDG last hits that Drake, not AL. And guess what? Later on, they've got a Cloud Soul, and that probably was the reason that the Nexus went falling a few minutes ago. So
yeah, it was impressive top-down setup from JDG, and you can see that lead held on to for a majority of the game and then ballooned. And you see Gala's good poke damage, but it's that 27k from Xiaoxu that's going to be feeling really, really good. And just a little side note, don't take Anivia into HongQ. All right, yeah. Or at least maybe have a little bit more experience on it.
Yeah.
Even though he had some good plays, I don't think Shanks was the biggest fault here. It's just the team composition didn't work out for them, and really big props to the entirety of JDG for that one. Everybody had their part.
Yeah, so this is actually the fight I believe I was just mentioning, where it looks extremely good for AL across the board. I mean, boom, 2 free kills here onto Vampire and JunJia. How could this not be good, right? Well, suddenly, Xiaoxu's like, you know what? I'm just going to TP in, guys, into the middle of the blue buff here, and I'm going to make this work. And somehow, some way, he makes this work, Mazel. He's able to get into the middle of their whole team, take Shanks out into the egg, kill Kael. He's literally being beamed by 4 people right now. Doesn't care. Ease forward, as we were highlighting Gala's but the amount of work that he puts in there was able to secure them that Drake, and that was extremely meaningful. I mean, and then this as well. I mean, this is where AL was back into the game, and they had the full driver's seat, and they're even lucky enough to escape with their lives. But it was actually the follow-up play. They are all able to escape here. It seemed that they recalled and immediately deployed bottom, and it was that play down bot side. With these 4 kills here, thanks to Vampire's flank, this is where the game was won by JDG.
Yeah, it just felt like an overextension, a little bit of a overzealous play from AL, and not something that we see all the time from them, but getting caught in the fold and then kind of giving that little advantage they had clawed back in some way right back to JDG, like 2-fold, right? They went up to like 4k gold after this play here, and just the kind of snowball domino effect that happened after one after one getting picked. And then the fights just started kind of going the way of JDG. Missed ultimates in terms of being flashed out of by Gala and JunJia, and that is your go button. That's your big tool to start off fights.
Yeah, again, a really big props to Gala for that one flash that we do remember in the mid lane, meaning Malphite had no flash this play, so Jace was a lot more safe to do as he pleases here. And yeah, again, Xiaoxu just running these fights over. Look at how effective this Cloud Soul ends up becoming here. I mean, him and Vampire, they just sprinted Hope. I mean, you're not building enough distance from that. You're just dying as Hope here. And the rest of them just get fully chased out. Look how much movement speed everybody has. Like, you try to run, you're just not getting out. And wow, a really well-played game to JDG. I do think that last highlight that we did look at with that mistake in the bot lane, having the 4 deaths from AL, that's going to be where the coach goes to the drawing board here and really tries to shore up that mistake, because this was their game to win as far as I'm concerned after getting the Baron and getting those recalls off. But they just had a pretty huge blunder there, and now we've got 2 games here, one where, you know, each team could have won, but the other team ended up winning. So let's see if the right team wins in this game 3.
Isn't that just classic LPL? I feel like we've had so many series recently that are just massive throws in games 1 and 2
literally.
From either side. I feel like it's become a staple at this point. But hey, we love the action anyways, and we love 3-game series. This Xiaoxu will absolutely get the MVP, his 2nd of the season so far.
Yeah, super well done by Xiaoxu. Remember, he's getting counter-picked there by the Gnar, but I don't even know how, but somehow he just had a perfect delivery system for JunJia to pull up and get first blood after his full clear. So ever since then, he was just absolutely chilling up there. And that one slight error from Flandre just completely blew open that top lane matchup and was able to get Xiaoxu this player of the game.
It was impressive indeed, and that means we have one final game to decide who will be the first team to lock in playoffs in Winter Split of LPL 2026. We'll see you on the other side for Game 3.